Hello and welcome back to another edition of Outside the Ropes. I am your host of Outside the Ropes, as always, Matthew Moore. Hope you're all doing really well out there, guys. Welcome back to Outside the Ropes here on this Wednesday. We have got some great news on tonight's show. We're going to be filling you with all the latest news and scoops in the world of professional wrestling as we come off a crazy Sunday and Monday with WWE's pay-per-view this past Sunday night, and obviously Monday Night Raw this past Monday. And also we're going into tonight's NXT event on the WWE Network. Also, there's going to be TNA on the air tonight, Ring of Honor as well, and obviously all the latest news as well. We've got some great stories we're going to talk about on this podcast on this Wednesday. But before we get into the latest news and scoops in the world of wrestling, we just want to give a shout out to our friends and partners of this podcast. If you are historians of professional wrestling, guys, and you are really into your news from the past, and even if you're new to wrestling and you want to find out all the history of professional wrestling, don't forget to check out our friends of this show, Wrestling's Past. Don't forget to check out their website, wrestlingspast.blogspot.co.uk, and also on Twitter at Wrestling's Past. So if you are historians of wrestling like myself and everybody here at the show, or if you're new to wrestling and you want to find out all the history of a certain professional wrestler or even event, Wrestling's Past is the location. Once again, that's wrestlingspast.blogspot.co.uk and on Twitter at wrestlingspast. Guys, what a past Sunday we've had. We've come off the tail of last Sunday's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. A big thank you to everybody who tuned in and downloaded the episode of the Money in the Bank pre-show from Outside the Ropes. Big response on YouTube. A big thank you very much for everybody who listened to us on YouTube. A phenomenal amount of downloads as always on iTunes, and some reasonably okay numbers on Speaker, and of course on our website. Yes, our website. Hello, we're back up and going. Managed to put the show on our website, OutsideTheRopesRadio.com. I also want to give a shout out, guys, as well to all the people who listen to us on the WrestlingForum.com. Haven't given a shout out to those guys for a long time. So thanks, guys, for tuning in this past Sunday night. Great numbers, and thanks for continuing to support this podcast. On tonight's show, we've got some interesting stories, should we say, in the last few days since we last spoke to you. Today actually is I did make the announcement on last Sunday's show before we get into the Money in the Bank preview of the passing of Dusty Rhodes this past Thursday. For the recollection that we know here on Outside the Ropes, his funeral took place today. We haven't heard any more details about the actual funeral, but once we get any details at all, we'll let you know on our usual sources like our social media and stuff like that. Dusty Rhodes' funeral was today. We did talk about it this past Sunday on our Money in the Bank pre-show. On tonight's show, guys, we're going to talk about the Money in the Bank pay-per-view from last Sunday, which was, in my opinion, a very good, solid pay-per-view. Also, an interesting show this past Monday night on Raw. We have some TNA news regarding talent, which should be quite interesting. We're going to be previewing tonight's NXT event on the WWE Network. We've got some news on former WWE stars. Also, some Ultimate Warrior news. I know obviously the Ultimate Warrior passed away a year ago, but we've got some news on him today as well. And also, a old WWE or WWF star turns up at WWE headquarters this past Monday. Is this certain person returning to WWE television, maybe for a Hall of Fame appearance, or even something else, anything else in the works? We've got some news on that as well, and anything else that pops up in the next sort of few minutes as we talk to you here on tonight's Outside the Ropes. So, this past Sunday, guys, Money in the Bank pay-per-view. Where can we get started? What an unbelievable show. Surprise, surprise. The winner of the Money in the Bank, I call Roman Reigns. A lot of you guys sent us an emails, which you always do at OutsideTheRopesRadio.com. That's the website, sorry. OutsideTheRopes at Yahoo.com, which is the email. Predicting the likes of Roman Reigns. A few did say Neville. Some other people were calling for different people. We even had a person calling in for Kane. It's quite surprising. But of all the people, we actually had one person who emailed us in calling Sheamus to win Money in the Bank. And guess what? That person was correct. Sheamus won the Money in the Bank pay-per-view, or the Money in the Bank ladder match pay-per-view. I'm off the rails tonight, guys. Need to take a look at myself. But Sheamus won the Money in the Bank ladder match this past Sunday. Surprisingly, I was shocked. I've spoken to Tony, my co-host of the show here, and he was shocked as well. A lot of fans on Twitter were shocked as well, as we talked to people throughout the show on Twitter. Sheamus won the Money in the Bank. We all thought Roman Reigns was going to win the ladder match as he was up the ladder. The lights went out and Bray Wyatt appeared and took out Roman Reigns. So it's obviously going to be a future feud, which the match was announced for Battleground, where it's going to be Reigns against Bray Wyatt. But the match ended where it was Neville and Sheamus, the English versus the Irish, on top of the ladder fighting. And Sheamus knocked off Neville from the ladder, and Sheamus is now new Mr. Money in the Bank. Now, is Sheamus going to be the one who cashes in this contract? For what we hear, that Sheamus will not be the one who cashes in this contract. We hear that Sheamus could possibly lose the contract and give it to the possible future world champion. We could be wrong, but is Sheamus the right person who won the Money in the Bank? We did send out a tweet during the pay-per-view asking you, the fans, and we did get some replies of no, it should have been new talent. A lot of people were saying that maybe Neville should have won the Money in the Bank ladder match, but he didn't. So is Sheamus going to be your future world heavyweight champion? He really is a 3-time champion before. Is Sheamus the right person to win the match? Let us know, guys, your thoughts on Twitter at Outside the Ropes Radio at Outside the Ropes at yahoo.com, and on Facebook, Outside the Ropes Wrestling Talk Show. Is Sheamus the right person to be Mr. Money in the Bank? I personally think it's not. I know he's from Ireland and we should be cheering him on, but I don't think he's the right guy at the moment. But I thought Roman Reigns should have won it, but that's just me. Other matches on the card. What a match between Kevin Owens and John Cena. Their rematch from 2 weeks prior at the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. This match was, in my opinion, match of the night. These two basically beat the absolute hell out of each other. They topped the last match they had at Elimination Chamber. Back and forth. Guys, seriously, if you haven't subscribed to the WWE Network, your $9.99 was worth that match alone. That match was just off the chain. Again, 2 matches John Cena's been in consecutive events. I'm not a big John Cena fan of his in-ring work, but those 2 matches with Kevin Owens was unreal. Super back and forward match. This time, Cena came out on top, which was quite surprising, because I did call for Owens to win. But the finish to the match got a big reaction, where Cena shook his hand and told me he belonged in the ring, and Owens turned on him and basically powerbombed him into the side of the ring like he'd done to Sami Zayn on NXT, which me personally, as a Kevin Owens fan, or Kevin Steen as you independent wrestling fans want to call, jumped out of your seat and was so glad to see it. A lot of independent wrestling fans I've spoken to over the last lot of years, before Kevin Owens or Kevin Steen even signed for WWE, would love to have seen him whip John Cena's ass and put him in his place with one of his classic promos, which he has done in reasonable weeks. But more on Kevin Owens shortly. But the match itself, unbelievable. We have new tag team champions. Finally, the WWE have pulled their heads out of their asses, and they have finally given the primetime players the tag team titles. They defeated Big E and Xavier Woods for the WWE tag team titles this past Sunday. Guys, I was so happy to see it. Finally, they've given the titles to someone who have worked their ass off, and these guys deserve to be tag team champions. And I hope to hell that the writing team does not take the titles off these guys inside 2 or 3 weeks, or even take them off in the Battleground. Give the guys a run. The people love the primetime players. You know, give those guys a run. Darren Young, Mr. No Days Off, what a great wrestler for the future. Great worker, you know, and Big Titus as well. They're a great tag team. They're entertaining. Their skits that they've done recently as well, mocking other tag teams, have been entertaining. Some of the stuff they've been doing over the years, even before they split up the first time around, they are now the tag team champions, and I'm so glad to see them as the WWE tag team champions. Ryback retained his Intercontinental title against the Big Show, which I'm not surprised. I think WWE's going to be going with a run with Ryback, which is good to see, because the big man finally has a singles title. We all thought he maybe would have got a tag team title run when he was tagging with Curtis Axel, but he didn't. So, but there you go. But overall, guys, I mean, the pay-per-view itself, Should we talk about the Divas match? Maybe. I'm only kidding. Paige didn't win the Divas title, which I was quite surprised that they called for Paige to win it, but she didn't, so there you go. But overall, we're running low on time here, because obviously we can't try and squeeze as much in as we can. But yes, overall, the Money in the Bank pay-per-view delivered once again. Kudos to the WWE for, putting on a good show. All I can say is well done to them. Monday Night Raw, let's move into Monday Night Raw. Before we done it, they made the announcement as well. After Raw on Monday night, they would do a Dusty Rhodes special. I forgot to mention that actually, and I watched it on the WWE Network. And I'll be the first to admit, here on the podcast, I did cry. Big Dusty Rhodes fan. I watched Dusty back in the day before he got to WWF, but I admit that I did cry. And even talking about it's getting me quite emotional. But there you go. But if you haven't watched the Dusty Rhodes special on the network, go and watch it. It was on the air after Raw, and off the air Monday night. So there you go, guys. Monday Night Raw. Where can we start with Monday Night Raw? Interesting show, wasn't it again, guys? No John Cena on Raw. Well, was I hearing things when I heard he wasn't there? No John Cena on Raw. Very, very surprised to see that. Unbelievable. It was very cool. No John Cena hug on the spotlight. Raw as a whole, we had basically the whole night was revolved around Seth Rollins. Who was Seth Rollins' next opponent going to be? The Authority turned around and told Seth Rollins to his face that they will pick his opponent before the end of the night. So Seth Rollins went backstage and he got into the faces of J&J Security. He got in the faces of Kane. He also approached the Authority, which the Authority sort of put him in his place and said they would name his opponent for him. Now, before his opponent was named, we did send out a tweet to you fans about an hour or so before it happened. Telling you guys that we heard a rumour that a certain person would be there. Rollins was in the ring, saying he was ready and he was going to be the diamond of the company. And WWE, or the Authority, announced that his opponent at Battleground will be the one and only Mr. Suplex City, bitch. The King of Suplexes, Mr. former WWE Champion, former UFC Champion, the return of Brock Lesnar. That's right, guys. Brock Lesnar returned to Monday Night Raw, and he will face Seth Rollins at the next pay-per-view. We heard all these rumors that he will be back for Battleground. But the question is Brock Lesnar going to be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion again? Now, I have checked his schedule. Limited schedule as well, of course, but Brock will be around on television quite a bit, actually right up until SummerSlam now, so you will see Brock Lesnar on quite a bit. We even hear that on his schedule, he will be appearing in the likes of Tokyo, Japan, and also other different places as well. So you'll see Brock Lesnar on quite a bit on TV for the next 2 to 3 months. So, is Brock Lesnar going to be the champion? My answer to you guys is no. And the reason being is, I think that Rollins is going to hold the title to at least SummerSlam. I've said this before, and I will say it again. But I think that Rollins will not maybe get away, they get disqualification or something like that. But I don't think Rollins will lose the title at Battleground. I know all these guys are saying like, oh no, it's like, well, Brock Lesnar's going to whip his ass, and I can't see Brock winning the guys, to be honest with you, but that's just my call on it. People are saying he's going to beat his ass, but WWE have a lot of confidence in Rollins at the minute. So, is Brock going to be champion again someday with his contract within the current contract that he has with the company? I think so. Yes, he will be champion someday again, but not just at this particular time. So, but anyway, bottom line is Brock Lesnar is going to face Seth Rollins at the pay-per-view. I want to hear your comments, guys, on this here. Send us an email, send us a message on our website, outsidetheropesradio.com. Brock Lesnar. Do you think Brock Lesnar is going to be the champion? I don't think he is, but that's just my opinion on it. Another interesting skit going back to Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens whipping the ass, absolutely annihilating the ass of Machine Gun Kelly, who you all remember performed at WrestleMania a while back in Miami. But he performed on Monday Night Raw this past week, where Kevin Owens came out and literally whipped his ass, picked up that little skinny dude and powerbombed his ass off the table, off the stage through what looked like a table on the floor. That was an oh my god moment when the Slammies come around, if they're doing the Slammies this year. But yeah, Kevin Owens again, controversial again on television. You know, he's now feuding with this guy, he's feuding with Cena. You know, he's fighting Samoa Joe tonight on NXT. You know, he's feuding with Sami Zayn. Kevin Owens seems to be everywhere at the moment. I mean, you all know, guys, we announced in the show 2 weeks ago or so that Kevin Owens signed his contract, main roster contract, but he's all over the place at the minute. He's in NXT big feuds, he's in big feuds on Raw. You know, he's on big matches on pay-per-views now, which is great to see. Brilliant to see. But that had to be one of the most interesting things I saw on Raw Monday night. Bray Wyatt cut as our I was going to say studio iPad, but I haven't moved back to the studio yet. But Bray Wyatt cut a very interesting promo on Roman Reigns to build up their match for the next pay-per-view. You know, and a good 6-man tag team match as well on Raw with Neville and the Primetime Players against the New Day. When are they going to kill this New Day gimmick off? Seriously, guys, it's really doing my freaking head in. Seriously, I can't be bored anymore. But overall, Raw, apart from the 2 big moments, which was the big thing that stood out for Raw this past Monday night. Now, away from Raw and away from the pay-per-view from Sunday night, let's get into some more interesting news for you guys. We sent out a tweet during the day on Monday. A certain former WWF/WWE talent appeared at headquarters. This photograph appeared on the internet and went viral within minutes. Former WWF Women's Champion, former WWF Intercontinental Champion, appeared at WWE headquarters. You probably all know who we're talking about. The former bodyguard of Triple H, the former member of D-Generation X. That's right, the one and only China. Is China talking to WWE? Now, we all know recently Triple H spoke of China in a Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast on the WWE Network, where he says, obviously, what she's been doing in her recent life, for example, adult movies and other stuff that she's been doing. Would Triple H put her in the Hall of Fame someday? Maybe. But he made a point by saying maybe a 10 or 11-year-old child would type in WWF or WWE China, and the first thing they would see would be more likely the adult stuff. So Triple H got a lot of heat for that. China went on to the likes of podcasts and internet radio shows and other different things like that. There are internet video blogs and stuff like that, and blogged herself about this whole thing. There was news going around that apparently she tore into WWE about this incident and about her past with Triple H as well and stuff like that. But people were also asking us, is this photograph legitimate? Did she just get her photograph taken beside a WWE logo? If you haven't saw the photograph, go onto our Facebook and our Twitter account. You can see the actual photograph. But for what we hear, China did appear at the headquarters. Now, why she was there, I don't know. Is it real? For what we've been told it is. We're still looking into it to see whether it's legit or not. But for what we know it is she going to maybe make an appearance in the Hall of Fame next year? Who would like to see China get into the Hall of Fame? I mean, she set the standard for women in the WWF at the time. I mean, yes, you had your divas, the likes of Sonny and stuff, but China, for standing up the men, I mean, she was getting in the ring and mixing it up with the men. I mean, and the men in her era were tough sons of bitches. Excuse the bad language, but it is true. You had tough guys back in those days, the likes of Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H. You know, tough guys back in those days. I mean, she was in matches with the likes of Chris Jericho and Hardcore Holly for the Intercontinental title. We all know Hardcore Holly's a tough son of a bitch. But, you know, some of the things she stood up for women back in those days as well. But obviously everybody knows what she's done after wrestling with her adult movie career and stuff like that. So, but regarding this story, is China going to be coming back to WWE to make an appearance for the Hall? I would love to see it. Never say never, guys. In the world of wrestling, you never know. But I would like to see it. So we'll keep an eye on that story for you guys, and we will get you more news as soon as we can here on Outside the Ropes. Now, today would have been the 56th birthday of WWE Hall of Famer, The Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior's wife, Dana, made a blog out today for all the Warrior fans. thanking them for all their support, etc. and what have been Warrior's 56th birthday today. This podcast is broadcasted on a Wednesday now. This would have been the Warrior's birthday on Wednesday today. He would have been 56. Warrior passed away the day after Monday Night Raw, the night after WrestleMania 30, which still to this day is a shocker for me, even when I watch back the footage on the WWE Network or anywhere else, even this DVD that the WWE brought out. We'll still miss Ultimate Warrior. We obviously knew he signed a Legends deal with the company. We'd love to have seen him on TV, appearing now and again, showing his face and stuff like that, doing stuff with that, maybe guys at NXT and whatnot. And then all of a sudden the Warrior was tragically taken from us. But today would have been his 56th birthday. So a shout out to all the Warrior fans and to the Warrior himself. We have not forgotten you, Warrior. We'll never forget you. And you're missed every single day. TNA news. Reports have come out in the last few days that we all know, well, obviously you probably heard these stories, that TNA talent are behind in payments. Now, some of the bigger stars, the likes of the Hardys and Kurt and stuff like that, are not, but other talents, including production teams and referees and stuff, apparently are in arrears of being paid by TNA. Now, a lot of talents are not happy with this, and some have actually taken to Twitter about this and spoken to other people in the business and are, publicising their frustration about TNA not paying them. A lot of people know that Destination America have picked up Ring of Honor. So a lot of people are saying now that TNA are going to be gone within no time. So is TNA going to? We've been talking about this for a long time, on this show. With TNA, I mean, are they finally going to close their doors? Global Force Wrestling have started doing their shows and all now too as well. Big congratulations to Jeff Jarrett on doing some shows there recently. But talent are now not being paid. A lot of talent have left the company in recent times. TNA apparently are trying to resolve this issue, but for what we hear as well, they're finding it difficult to pay certain talents. Is this going to be the end? Is this going to be basically for what we've been reading and what we've been told by our sources here at the show, that a TNA are apparently in the same situation that ECW is in. Talent are not being paid. I don't know why checks are bouncing or not. Probably not. It's a different generation now, of course, but it's sad to see. So TNA talent, you don't be surprised if you hear some more talent leaving in the next few weeks, obviously, because they're not being paid for their work. Moving on, a lot of you guys, well, we did say to you at the start of this show to get to check out our good friends at Wrestling's Past. But for people who don't know this person, this news came in the news today. Wrestling's Past, and check out some news on a former wrestler, Blackjack Mulligan. A lot of you guys out there will know Blackjack Mulligan from back in the day. It was one tough cookie, should we say. He was a tough man back in the day. And before we hear today, Blackjack Mulligan sustained a heart attack. We did know in the news the other day that Blackjack Mulligan was due to go for an operation on his brain. Whether it was so severe or not, I'm not too sure the full details in contact with the story. But for what we hear today, Blackjack Mulligan sustained a heart attack. All we know at the moment is he's in hospital, and they're trying to keep him settled. That's all we know at the moment. So, sad news, really. Another great talent from back in the day, another great tough wrestler from back in the good old days of, proper wrestling. Good old fashioned tough guy of the business. So we send our thoughts and prayers out to Jack Mulligan's family. We hope he recovers from this and have a speedy recovery. And we'll obviously keep an eye on that story for you guys. And any more news, of course, you know where to get the stories from us here on Outside the Ropes. Let's move on, guys. Tonight's NXT, the match. Well, you've probably read the spoilers. I've read the spoilers, but I don't care. I'm still going to watch it. The match finally happening tonight. Kevin Owens versus Samoa Joe on NXT on the WWE Network. We're going to be watching it here. We're going to be tweeting throughout the show. So we do want to hear from you, your thoughts on all the matches going on tonight's NXT. If you don't know the spoilers to the show, I will not tell you because we don't like to give away spoilers. We know SmackDown was taped last night, but we're not going to give you the results away from that either because we don't like to do that. But you can check out the results and obviously all the other sources you can get the stories from. We used to post spoilers on our website, but we don't do that anymore because a lot of fans were getting pissed off with it. But tonight's NXT, I'm looking forward to this match, even though I know the results of it. But I'm looking forward to seeing Samoa Joe against Kevin Owens. So don't forget to tune tonight, guys, to the WWE Network for NXT. So there you go. That's going to bring us to the end of this podcast. Short and sweet. Hope you are all doing well, as always. Thank you for taking your time to download us on iTunes. Check us out on our other sources. I want to give a wee shout, guys, to our friends at, obviously, Promotions here in Ireland, who we obviously share and support on our Facebook and stuff. I want to give a wee shout out to our friends Pro Wrestling Ulster, who had a great show there 2 weeks ago with former WWF star Al Snow, who's their current champion, by the way. I want to also give a shout out to our friends Wrestling.ie. Don't forget to check out their websites as well. They've got some big shows coming up over the summer here in Ireland. I want to give a shout out to our friends down south in Southern Ireland who do a great show, an over 18s only show. And they basically entitled some of their shows FPG Era. That's Over the Top Wrestling. Hope you're doing very well out there, guys. So big shout out to those guys. Big shout out to our friends at British Wrestling Radio, who we haven't spoken to in a while. Dino and all the gang, hope you're all doing really well. They're going to be attending some shows recently, are coming up soon. So Dino and all the guys, hope you're all doing fantastically well. And guys, most importantly, don't forget to check out our partners of this show, Wrestling's Past, which is wrestlingspast.blogspot.co.uk, and under at Wrestling's Past. Guys, I'm going to hit the road. I have a lot of free time this week. I might see if our head of production will let me do another podcast before the weekend. Hopefully, if we get free time. I have a lot of free time this week because I'm actually off work this week, so I may even say to him about maybe doing a possible podcast special. And maybe we can try and drag someone onto the show with us because, as you know, recently I've been too busy and I haven't had a chance to do more shows. So there you go. But once again, thank you so much for hitting the download button on iTunes. Also listen to us here on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for your support. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on YouTube and the like button too as well and support this show. So guys, I'm going to hit the road here. So enjoy NXT tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. So until the next time we see you, which maybe try and get one done before the weekend. If not, it'll be next Wednesday. So for Matthew here, the host of Outside the Ropes, enjoy the rest of your week, whatever it is you're doing wrestling-wise or whatever it is you're doing in your life. I'm Matthew Moore, your host, and I will catch you down the road, guys, soon. So from everybody here at Outside the Ropes, enjoy the rest of your week. We will see you all very soon.